Welcome back to Connect with Christina. With me today is Alex, and share your company name.
Alex Branding Phoenix.
There you go. I'm very curious. How did you even get started?
So back in high school, one of my first jobs was retouching. It was very random that I even ended up in that position, but I learned how to retouch on Photoshop, and actually I was just telling this story a couple nights ago, and I was like, I would never do this. Because I was in a photography studio, and I was like, meeting with strangers, buying all this expensive equipment. That's not me. I would never do this. But that exposure led me here. I connected the dots the other day. If it wasn't for that, I probably would have never pursued it. So that was the start of the journey. And I did weddings at some point. I did senior photography, and it all kind of led me to pursuing my passion, which is small business owners. So that's how I ended up here. Yeah.
So Alex Branding Phoenix, that's a phenomenal name, but what sets you apart from the rest? What's your entire mission in that company?
Yeah. Well, I want to bring branding to everyone, right? Personal branding is a somewhat new concept that people are latching onto, right? So branding started thousands of years ago, branding cows, right? It used to just be a logo. Today, you know more than anyone, it's not just a logo, it's you. It's this gut feeling of trust and intuition about a certain product, service, or company. So part of my X factor is to figure out what that is and help all of these people. A lot of people are brand new business owners. They're shy of the camera and putting themselves out there, or don't even know to put themselves out there. So that's what I love to do: discover, consultate, and make people feel comfortable. And we even do a deep dive into their company and their brand before the photo shoot, so that we can land on exactly what we're going to do and how to showcase someone the best and in a unique way too. I don't want a smile behind a backdrop and now that's everyone's brand. No, that's boring. Now you're just blending into everyone. How can we include your colors, the things you work with, your environments, some scroll stopping photo ideas. So that's a part of what I like to do.
Well, your intake is one that was very unique, and I want you to share that. So I have signed up with you, and we have a funny story that we tried to shoot, and then the fire department kicked us out.
Yeah.
And we had our outfits ready, we're excited, and I guess there's a gas leak. So, but before that, we had to do an intake, and that intake call was legit. And I want you to share why that is that way.
Yeah, well, I want to manage expectations, right? The worst thing in one of people's insecurities, maybe not insecurities, but things that they're a little bit worried about when hiring someone is, will I like what we get? I don't want it to leave it to a surprise. I want to manage those expectations and be collaborative, so that when we get together, we talk and we plan. We're going to talk about poses. We're going to talk about things we want to include, locations, wardrobe. By the end of that process, I have a very good idea of what we need to execute, and they have a good idea of what we're going to execute. So it's not left to a surprise, and people feel so much more comfortable, right? There are some people who maybe their process is they just DM, yeah, here's my price, let's do it. Maybe you're meeting those people for the first time on a photo shoot. For me, this is a very personal thing for business owners. I'm up in their face. So we build rapport, we build a plan, and we execute.
And what have you found to be the number one key in your success?
I genuinely am interested in people. I'm interested in everyone's story. That's why I love small businesses. It's so fascinating to be part of everyone's journey. You're doing fascinating things. All my clients are inspiring me in some ways or another. So I'm genuinely interested. And that pulls out so many good things that we then implement into the photo shoot. It creates a lot of comfort.
And now going back to, obviously you're focusing on small businesses, right? So on the marketing standpoint, in your opinion, how often should people be retaking photos, headshots, things like that?
More often than people think. Very often people reach out to me and they're like, hey, it's been like 5, 6, 10 years. They're like, I think I should update it. And that's absolutely right? We don't want to keep reusing the same photos forever. The photos I take will probably be good for at least a few years for the most part, but especially if we're branding ourselves, we change, right? And we want to build trust. And if our photos, if we show up and now we have gray hair in our headshots and somebody's been communicating online with someone and that's not what we look like, there starts to be a disconnect.
That is a good point.
It's not necessarily a catfish, but it starts to psychologically not build trust, right? So that is important. Not to mention there's so much content nowadays. It's good to have as much content as possible, but also, like I said, stay updated with who we are so we're not building trust.
That's a good point, though, because it's not intentional. Just time passes and you don't think about it.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, if you were to put a year on it, 2, 3 years before you do a whole photo shoot, 5, what do you think? Or does it depend on the industry?
It'll probably depend. I would say within 2, 3 years, start planning the next one. Yeah. If not sooner, and for some people, lasts a little bit longer. Yeah.
Right. Well, and then obviously there's so many different types of small businesses. Is there any specific industry that you find joy in? Food. It would be food for me. I want to try all the food.
Specific industries. Well, I love when it's something a little bit new for me is working with people that are really working with their hands. So I got to work with a company called Draftwood Designs, and they build custom wooden vanities, and they're beautiful and they're customized and they go in beautiful homes. And I spend all day with them photographing every bit of the process. So that was new for me. So it was cool to challenge myself. And I'm also fascinated with woodworking. It's something I wish I could do, but I don't have the talent to do it. So that's interesting. In the last couple of years, I've been photographing my wife. I'm sure you've seen that. She's a mural artist, and I've never met one before her. I've never worked with them before her. So she's doing cool things, working with paint. It's splotchy. There's character. There's texture. So those are some interesting new things. Yeah.
How fascinating that two creatives found each other. I mean, come on. Now, when you guys start having kids, let's see what they end up doing.
That's a good question. Yeah, yeah.
I mean, think about it. How'd you even meet?
LinkedIn.
Yeah.
No.
No?
No. I change my story every time somebody asks me.
Okay.
It was Hinge. It was a dating app. We're a COVID couple, so Hinge was
a COVID couple.
Yeah.
Okay, explain.
Yeah, well, it was the year of the pandemic. She was a teacher. I was in corporate sales, and we were we weren't really getting out, so we went on Hinge, and we've been dating ever since. Yeah.
I'm telling you, there's quite a bit of good stories out there from that app, I will say. Obviously, it doesn't always end up like a fairy tale or, like you're married and happily married. But I think there's really, a lot of good stories. So if you're out there, come call us.
Yeah.
And now with your background, are you from Arizona? Tell us a little bit more about your background.
Yeah, no, I was born in Lima, Peru.
Okay.
I lived there till I was 6. Then I moved to Wisconsin.
Okay.
Started grade school. Moved back to Peru as a teenager. And then I lived there till I was 16. Went back to Wisconsin. And then I lived there up until about 5 years ago. And now I'm here, yeah.
I'm going to say, and I'll say it over and over, that Midwest stuff, that especially Wisconsin, I mean, it just produces like the kindest, most genuine people. Shout out to my late best friend, Sky. He's from there. So.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
It's a great environment to grow up in, yeah.
I've never been, but they say it's just not a fast place to live. It's more laid back. Is that true?
Super laid back, yeah. My hometown was like 1,000 people, I think, if I remember correctly.
What is it called?
So I was in a more rural area, but then my school was in a city called Coleman. So I remember,
Like I would know, but I still want to ask.
I remember the population as my school bus drove in every morning would say like 800. So it was tiny, and that was the city, and I was in like the country area around it.
What your graduating class was?
Oh, like 40 people, 30, 40?
What?
Around 40, I think. Yeah.
Okay, so now when you're comparing Phoenix, Arizona to that, what are some of the key differences?
Key differences. Well, that would explain why I moved here. I wanted to move here for the food, the weather.
The weather. Did you just say the weather?
Definitely the weather.
Why?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I grew up in Peru, so to me, the climate and I grew up in the country, so like I would have to drive like 40 minutes to go find a Taco Bell.
Okay.
And that was exciting back then, a Walmart and a Taco Bell. Whereas here, I'm Peruvian, and there's a Peruvian restaurant like at least 3-4, minutes away. So small things like that, I love. Yeah.
Yeah. But some of the other things, is it truly faster? Like, what is it that's so different from Wisconsin?
There's actually a lot of similarities. So I feel like Phoenix it's a large city by population, but it's not really that fast of a city.
Okay.
At least not where I live. I live in Ahwatukee.
Oh, yeah.
It's slow. It's relaxed.
Yes, it's beautiful with that crazy, beautiful view of the
South
mountain.
Mountain, yeah.
So you don't count then, okay? I thought you're like downtown Phoenix,
I'm definitely
Old
not
Town
downtown.
Scottsdale.
But yeah, no, I mean, so there are some similarities. I do like that. That's part of the reason
you were able
I
to
thought
find it.
Phoenix was cool, is you could have your fast and you could also enjoy some slower living.
Yeah, I love that. And well, you're definitely needed here too, because Phoenix is just growing with a ton of entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
Left and right. And what you do is obviously something that we all need.
It's a playground.
Yeah. Life-wise, who's influenced you?
I would say church is a big part of my life. My faith is a big part of my life. And I've learned to seek wisdom. So I seek wisdom in the people I surround myself with, in the couples and husbands that I want to learn to be more like. So in a lot of ways, I put people around me, and my faith kind of leads me in the right direction. And that's led me to a lot of growth, actually. Yeah.
And have you ever endured any type of hardship in life that you had to really climb out of?
Yeah, a lot of hardship. I grew up super poor, very poor. Very poor, parents that didn't get along, separation. I grew up with just my mom for like the first 6 years. So a lot of things to overcome.
Alex, when you say poor, can you describe that?
Yeah. When I went to my honeymoon, that was my first resort I've been to. I just never really traveled. Everybody I remember in grade school would talk about family vacations and coming back from Florida for 2 weeks or going shopping on the weekends. And that was like, what is that? What do you mean you just spend money on Saturdays because you have nothing else to do? So that would be the simplest way to put it.
Well, I'm very, very proud of how far you come and where you're headed. But anyway, continue.
Yeah. And even just being an immigrant too, right? I learned English in America. I learned English in kindergarten. If you were to see me speak, we did a talent show in first grade, and I got to see the video years later. I literally sounded like Fez from the 70s show. I had a thick...
I love Fez.
I do too. I had a thick accent. I literally had the worst grammar, the worst pronunciation. And because of that, I grew up super shy. I grew up, in Wisconsin. That was just not my culture at all. People are hunting and farming, and I'm like, what's this? People are driving. Like, I'm not used to that. So one of the hardships was for sure assimilating, and then also just learning the language and just learning to be a little bit more extroverted versus just the self-identity of I'm shy and no one wants to talk to me, and the social class. And so there were a lot of things I had to overcome to be on this side of things, of being able to talk to anyone and do business with people in all different kinds of classes and levels in their lives.
And it's interesting how that has I feel influence you right now, because obviously on the other end of someone that you're doing an intake with, you definitely take charge. You're definitely commanding. You're very helpful, and you help us feel comfortable and preparing for the shoot. So you're definitely
Thank
not
you.
shy today.
Yeah, thank you.
Are you planning on having kids?
Kids, definitely. Yeah, definitely. It's in the talks.
Okay,
It's in the
1,
talks.
2, 3, or 4.
You know, I'm a big believer. I was a, what do you call it?
Only child?
An only child. And
Say that in Spanish or, in your language.
I don't even know how. I don't even know. Single child, yo fue un, I don't know what single
Solo?
child would be. Yeah, I don't know what it would be.
I love it.
I'm a big believer in giving them a little buddy, a little a playmate, somebody to learn from, grow from, socialize with. So I would love at least 2.
Okay.
3 would be luxurious. I don't know about that.
I wanted 5, but I
Wow.
have 3.
You have 3?
I have 3.
Wow,
3
I didn't
beautiful
know.
daughters.
Okay.
And I would have had 4, but my doctor said absolutely not, because I had 3 C-sections.
Oh.
So, I
More
didn't
at
want
risk.
to, I wanted them to each, it's 3 is different, because,
Yeah.
luckily they all get along, they love each other, but I really wanted 4. Medically, I was not allowed. But that said, before we end, is there anyone out there that has truly influenced you or has made a profound impact on your life?
Yeah, okay. So an easy one right off the top of my head, I would have to probably just say my wife. I mean, I wasn't looking for someone creative. In fact, a lot of us don't look for someone creative. We don't want to all be saying the same thing, doing the same thing all the time, but it happened so naturally. And then she kind of came into the business world because she was a teacher when we met. But I would say, marriage teaches you to be less selfish. So we've learned to grow together, and every day is kind of like a business strategy. Every day we have constant feedback of what's working, what's not working. So we've both kind of molded and grown with each other. So, and then sometimes we have some self-defeating thoughts or things that we don't think can work, and then maybe we see the other person do something anyway and it works, and then back and forth. So it's been an amazing way to grow together. So she's probably in the short last 5 years been possibly the biggest impact. Yeah.
So you're like a team.
You're definitely a team, yeah.
Can you tell everyone how to look her up? Because it sounds like she's an amazing talent. Does she have a page we can share? Yeah,
definitely. So her Instagram is page.reeser.arts, I believe. Don't quote me, but yeah, her name is Paige Reeser, and that's her brand. That's her website, pagereeser.com.
And then let everyone know how to get a hold of you, please. Guys, if you need headshots, power shots, candid shots, just anything for your business, this is who you want to get a hold of.
Thank you. Yeah. My Instagram is at alexbrandingphoenix.com. I have an email and website in there as well, but people are welcome to DM me. So, yeah.
And before we go, let's shout out our friend Vanessa Ramirez with Victory Accent Solution. Hi, Vanessa.
Yeah, Vanessa, definitely. She was one of the first people that I got to work with in this kind of legal niche, small business owner niche in Arizona. So yeah, she's introduced me to a lot of people and exposed me to a lot of people. She's supported me since I kind of took that on full time in the last couple of years. So yeah, she's been a major impact as well. So we love seeing her. We see her often.
Vanessa's good people. So, and soon we'll see her here, hopefully, and your wife.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming to Connect with Christina, and until next time, bye.
Bye.